Has it ever occurred to you that you have two friends and one of them is superior in knowledge and another one is a bit inferior? And let's call them A and B because we're going to be mentioning them a lot in the time to come in the video. So they both take the test and they somehow end up with the same result. And you keep asking yourself how and why, because you definitely know that the student A with higher knowledge knows way better than the student B with inferior knowledge. And actually, there is a very simple reason why they ended up with the same score, and that's called performance. So during the test, you're assessed based on not on your knowledge, but actually on your performance. So they somehow ended up with the same performance despite this big gap in their knowledge. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about how to prime your performance by the time your test day comes. And well, I'm going to be sharing some tips and steps that you can actually use to reach your maximum potential in your test day. All right? So the first step, actually this is not the first step, but it's actually the step 0, Before you start any step, think about that. Are you actually ready to register for your IELTS? If not, if you feel anxious and if you feel hesitant whether you can achieve the score you feel you want to achieve, and then you better not register for the test, because that's the that's the stream of problems. So a lot of people, they register in rush without actually comprehending the burden of this test, and then they start to feel anxious, they start to feel demotivated, they think more about the test to come rather than taking any action. So if you feel not ready, and you better not register and study a few months. It doesn't really hurt, but studying these a few months definitely boosts our confidence, which is the first step that we are going to be talking about. So this confidence. So on test day, one big reason why some people reach their maximum potential and while some fail to do so is because of their confidence. So this A student, let's say with superior knowledge, but he's less confident in his skills, and he's very hesitant whether he can pull out the band score that he wants to get, and then he's overthinking a lot. Meanwhile, the student with a relatively fewer knowledge, let's say, but not that few, but the relatively inferior compared to the first student, he's quite confident and he has faith in his own skills, and he doesn't think about what might happen badly. I mean, what might go wrong? So he's a bit realistic and he's confident, and then he goes into this exam hall and then do whatever he can do. So, and speaking of confidence, so now we know that you need to be confident, but the reason is how. So let's now talk about how you can be confident on your test day. So the first thing is working hard. So this confidence, this self-awareness comes from your own evaluation of your skills. So here's tip number 1, that how you can boost your confidence. So the first thing, think of anybody that you think is successful and a high achiever, and you think is a hard worker, and observe them and come up with the amount of hours they actually work, amount of hours they put in hard work, and then write it down. And every single day, by the time your test day comes, try to catch up with that number. Let's say if it's 5 hours of hard work, uninterrupted hard work, and then work these 5 hours each day, all right? And then you can just set up a timer, right? Not backwards, but forwards. Yeah, you can just use it, and then every time you work, you can calculate, and you can try to catch up with that number. So by doing so, you are gaining confidence, and you feel that you are doing something that you feel is right. and then eventually it helps you to build up knowledge. It helps you build up knowledge because you're working hard, and it also builds up confidence because you know you're doing something that successful people do. And so, and by knowing that you're following the path, you're following the path that they walked before you, you also know that if you keep walking that way, you are going to be successful too. And that brings a lot of confidence. And that also helps on your test day as well. And another one is work without time management. And it's actually more about your performance in terms of listening practice or reading practice. So I see a lot of students, they, even if they are practicing, they try to do it with time management. And I'm not saying it's bad. So being under exam pressure, it's also a good thing. But when you're working hard and trying to improve, there is a question of confidence as well. Imagine your test is coming and you're trying to work under exam pressure, and you keep hitting that like a 20 or 25 out of your listening practices, out of your reading practices, and it's gonna take a huge toll on your confidence. And you already know that you're not good enough, and you start to panic. What happens if the same happens on my exam day? And then that's going to take the big chunk out of your confidence. So when you're practicing, and if your exam is closed and you have already registered, and then you better not practice under exam pressure, yeah, under exam conditions. I mean, don't set timer, all right, when you're doing a reading, and then don't put that 1 hour timer. Just do 3 passages with full concentration, and then check them. If there is a need to revise them one more time, if you're not confident enough, if you're hesitant that you may not get 40 out of 40, and then you feel free to go back and then do the questions that you feel hesitant about. So that's another tip, all right? By the time you take your exam, try to get constantly 40 out of 40, both on practice and both on listening and reading practices, all right? So the time management doesn't matter. The same with listening. So don't do it in one go, all right? Take your time. So because there can be some really tricky questions, especially in part 3, yeah, these matchings and multiple choices, they can be sometimes really tricky, and you don't have to do them only once, all right? Because you're not in exam, you're practicing, you're developing your focus, you're developing your concentration, and it's fine if you sleep. Just go back, play it again, play the audio again, and then do it. And this getting 40 out of 40 from your reading and listening practices can be a great booster for your confidence. And then once you feel confidence, this getting 40 out of 40 becomes your normal. It becomes your normal, and then you start to develop these skills to get, and then you start not to panic on your exam day, and then you feel confidence because you know your previous test scores were 40 out of 40, and then you feel more confident in terms of your these practices, reading and listening and whatever it is. So don't use timer while you are practicing. All right, and now let's zoom out and focus on the bigger picture. So your performance is not solely about how well you practice it, how well you trained. It's actually your organism, your brain trying to work at his best. All right, and there are other factors than training itself. So that's sleep. So most IELTS students I see, they pull an all-nighter doing their homework, and they lose one important point. Yeah, that's your brain. So by working the night out, you're actually killing your brain, and you're preventing your brain doing its job, having its rest, and preventing the chemicals that are really important for your performance. You're actually depleting your brain from these chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, and there are other many chemicals that I don't really know. So you can visit Andrew Huberman podcast and you can just watch them. You know, there are a lot of information about how your brain works, how it functions, and the role of chemicals in its performance. You can just visit the podcast and see to yourself. But what I mean is, don't pull an all-nighter doing your homework. Instead, just wake up early and do the work in the morning. So it's according to Sunnah, yeah, and it also aligns with the modern science as well, because your brain needs to have some shut eye between the 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. So that's really important. So don't miss out that one. So by doing your homework, by doing practices or whatever it is, by working midnight, yeah, you're not actually getting any better. It's actually your brain. Yeah, you don't get enough sleep, and your motivation drops the day after. And then in a bigger picture, you lose. Yeah, in the bigger picture, you're losing. So that's why don't study at night. I know many students, they love to study at night, but it's better to fix your habits, because habits builds your performance. It actually builds yourself, your routine, your life. That's why it's really important to get enough sleep. All right. And the question comes, how can you get this sufficient amount of sleep? So there are way too many ways that you guys don't know about how your body falls asleep. So and that's why, again, you can just visit Huberman Lab. So that's on YouTube. You can watch. But one thing that's really important is not stimulating your brain. If you keep stimulating your brain, it never rests. By stimulating, I mean watching YouTube shorts and oh, it's a blackout. Okay, we can go on. I have already recorded at least 12 minutes. All right, now we have no lights, but still, anyways. So by stimulation, I mean you do something that makes your brain work. Yeah, for example, YouTube shorts. So that's one thing that's very stimulating. It always happens with me. It always happened with me, actually, before I deleted Instagram, and now I'm watching YouTube shorts. But the thing happens that before going to sleep, before going to bed, you want to check out on your Instagram. Yeah, and because a few reels don't really hurt, and then you open Instagram and you watch this reels, and then what happens there, you watch these reels and it gives them dopamine. If it's funny, or if it's let's say, usually most of these things are really emotionally stimulating. So sometimes you feel happy when you watch reels, sometimes you feel bad, because there are only two things that knows what's going on with you. The first is yourself. You know what's going on with you, and the next thing is your Instagram algorithm. So that's the only person before, like, aside from you, that knows that you had a breakup. He comes up with this really depressing, or let's say really resonating reels with your mood. So you better not watch it, because when you watch it, their process happens that stimulates a lot of chemicals in your brain that gives you these emotions, and then your brain starts to work, and it takes a while to wind down and fall asleep. Yeah, and another reason is the another reason why you can't sleep is because this melatonin build up. So there is this chemical called melatonin. That's the reason why your eyes feel heavy whenever you feel sleepy. So that's melatonin, and these days you are actually depleting your brain from melatonin. Here is how. So its first thing is it's from light. When your body, your eyes, they're exposed to light, this melatonin is cut off from your brain. Your brain doesn't produce this, not emit, but produce this chemical, melatonin, and you can't fall asleep. Yeah. So that's why dim the lights, don't use light, turn them off. Yeah. Don't study, don't look at your screen, just lie down, or if you like, with your night lamp, you can just read books. I mean, just put on your night lamp, because they're not too bright compared to normal lights in your room. So they're completely dim. They're not as light as other night lamps, yeah, in your rooms, or candles. So just take it and read these books. and it helps your brain to calm down. Yeah, it doesn't stimulate anything, it's not so stimulating, and then you start to fall asleep on time. And if it's possible, I mean, you better not set up alarm to your waking time. Instead, set alarm at the time that you go to bed. For example, if you go early, it's impossible to wake up late. Imagine you're going to sleep at 9. There's no way you can sleep until 9 again. So because of this cortisol level in your body, and then you automatically wake up. So instead, try this simple technique. Set up alarm at the time you go to bed, not at the time you wake up. Yeah, and try to naturally wake up, and it's another big thing that can be a game changer, you know. So, and now we talked enough. Now I guess this is enough for now. Let's recap. So the first thing that's really important is register whenever whenever you feel ready. Don't register too early, okay? Because it leads to this anxiety, and you feel nervous, and you keep overthinking about what might go wrong in your exam day rather than actually taking action. Yeah, so register whenever you feel ready. And when your exam is approaching, it's like a week ahead, right? Or there's a week to go, or there's 10 days to go until your exam day, and you better not practice with timer, okay? Just don't use timer, just go all in. Yeah, go all in, and then practice without timer. So check it whenever you feel confident, whenever you feel you get 40 out of 40 questions, and it can be another really good game changer. So, and again, amount of hours that you think hard worker people do, so that you need to adopt, you need to steal this technique as well. So write down a number that you think successful people work for, and then try to catch up with that number. Yeah, for example, if you think that successful people, your hard workers, they work for 8 hours in a day, and then try to work 8 hours, or try to reach that level. All right, try to reach that number. Okay, and that can be another thing. And you start to develop this self-awareness. You think that you're working hard. Yeah, that's something that successful people share, and then you feel like you have this quality as well, and it's kind of it's kind of manifestation towards this hard work, and it actually works, I guess. And so what else? Sufficient sleep. We have just gone over that. Get that enough sleep. All right. So, and I guess this is it. If you like this format, if you like this mini podcast or something, just let me know by reactions, or leave comments, and let me know what do you want me to talk about in the following things. All right. By the way, I have another thing in mind. So if you want me to release another video, if you want me to make another video about what things you should do, what things you should pay attention on your exam day, okay, let me know. Leave plus in the comments, or yeah, just leave plus, or just say that make the video, right? Just write the comment, make the video. So that's gonna be about how to maximize your performance on an exam day, right? And now the things I've talked about, they were about pre-exam date. Yeah, these are the things that you should do a month or two before your exam. Yeah, and if you want me to release another video, to make another video about the things, the behavior you need to have on your exam day to do your best, just let me know. All right, thank you guys. If you have watched so far, thank you very much.